disaster in your account. Now, if there are any questions, I'm glad to answer those. If you do have any questions that regard the Vantage Point software that I was using for the demonstrations here, as far as the tool for giving some indicators, you can call the information on the screen there. They can provide you a lot more specific information about Vantage Point than what I can. But if you have any questions related to strategy or any of the other things that I covered, I'd be glad to try to answer those if I possibly can. Okay, let's see. I see a question up here. Gas prices have been dropping. Is this divergence? And yes, okay, I think there are a couple of things going on in the energy markets. Of course, I mentioned we have the Iran situation. Kind of everybody's digested what's going on in Libya, some other places here. But one of the things that, always comes around this time of the year is that we have the tendency going into the holiday type of season. There's going to be more driving. We're coming into the winter heating season. There are some possibilities here that you could trade them against crude oil, as a trade. It's kind of a divergence type scenario. One goes higher, the other goes lower. But if you're accustomed to spreading, it doesn't mean you're going to lower your risk. But if you're accustomed to spreading, yes, sir, I think there would be some opportunities here in the products versus the crude oil, particularly since crude oil has run up a little higher than might be justified. Okay, question? Example of situations that would be valid to change trading plan strategy. Well, in situations where you have, for example, you say, okay, I am going to be, my goal is to be a trend trader, and I am going to follow this trend. I'm going to put my position here, and then you get into one of those choppy August, September type situations where the market doesn't produce the trend that you expect. First of all, you don't want to get in unless it, makes your 40-point move, as I showed in the E-mini, before you actually get on board. But if it then, does that and, fails to do that, and you can recognize that you have a different situation, a different mode of trading, and particularly after a run. If you had a run to the high side, quite often you'll have a market that will move then sideways, kind of a run and rest type thing. The problem that we had in August, September, that was that rest area, that rest period that we had such wide boundaries. It's probably one of those situations, in that situation, where you might want to avoid it for a while, depending on the size of your account, your propensity for risk, and all that. But you might want to lower your expectations. You might want to say, well, I'll get in if it exceeds my previous high by 20 points, but I'm going to get out, if it drops 10 points. I mean, you just kind of want to narrow your whole range if you think that a sense that the market mode is changing. When you look at a chart like today, we may have broken through the bottom side of that triangle. That might call for a change in plan. I mean, in terms of a general trading strategy. I don't mean a change in plan, because every trade has a plan, but in terms of an overall strategy, from a trend following that you have been to the sideways that you have been, and now back into the trend type strategy where you think that you're going to maybe get a little run to the downside. So, that's just an example there. The same would be true in oil, where you've had a long run. It would be very rare for a lot of markets to make those V-type bottoms or tops where they go roaring up because there was some momentum that pushed it up. It came from somewhere. And if it gets to the point at the top, it's probably not going to turn around on the dime and head lower. So it's kind of risky to take that short trade until you see it kind of come down to whatever criteria, whatever parameter you have set, before you want to get on board and kind of give it a test. Just frankly, it may not always work, and that's why this signal, or the secret to successful trading, is keeping your losses short when you're going through those kind of periods. And then if it is possible, take advantage of it. If you can take advantage, let it run. But if it's not there, don't push it. Don't try to take advantage of something that isn't there. Now, I don't know if that answers the question real well, because every market and every situation always seems to be a little bit different, kind of takes a little bit of different approach. Okay, I think of a trading strategy like a mission statement. That's certainly true, because you have an overall thing, not subject to much change over time. Otherwise, maybe it wasn't a good strategy in the first place. Okay, now I can see that. I mean, there are strategies for trending type markets, and there are strategies for sideways type markets, and depends on the mode and depends upon, in some cases, if you're a trend trader and that's the way you like to trade and so forth, when it is going sideways, then the best strategy probably is, well, wait for the trending situation, be patient. But if you're you got to trade every day type of a person, you may have to change your strategy from a trending to a trading type of a strategy. Anyway, but that shouldn't affect, or that doesn't negate writing a trading plan for each trade. Kind of where you're going to enter, where would you get out, where are the points of pressure going to come at you from the top, the resistance, where's the support. In each case, each trade should have a trading plan kind of in mind. It may not necessarily be, every market may not have the same plan, but it's kind of one of those that trade by trade, you need to have a plan in place. Overall, you need to have a strategy in place for the bigger types of scenarios, the bigger modes of trading whenever the market gets into those kind of modes. Now, I guess I'm looking at my end of my time frame here on my allocated time. Just want to reinforce what Darla said about the webinars that we do have at TraderPlanet.com, archived on the website, where we cover a lot of previous webinars have covered a lot of details about some of these indicators that we have talked about. We'll have other webinars in the future, and hopefully can answer some of the questions. There are a lot of things that we can do depending upon who's interested in various subjects. I mean, there are a lot of areas of options, there's areas of spreading, lots of things here that we can apply, based upon using our software tools that we had to the fullest. So if there are no other questions, again, and I do thank you for attending today's webinar, and I look forward to seeing you at webinars in the future. Darla, turning it back over to you.
Thank you, Darrell. The recording for this webcast will be posted on TraderPlanet.com within the next 24 hours, and we will be emailing a link for the recording to each of you. If you are interested in seeking further information on Vantage Point intermarket analysis software, we urge you to contact our friends at Market Technologies, the makers of Vantage Point, via the phone number on your screen. This concludes today's presentation. Thank you for attending, and all of us here at Trader Planet wish you a pleasant evening.